So,
All right.
and
Okay.
yeah, character
So
room's probably not a good idea for Haley.
I missed that.
No worries. So this is the Gauntlet Gaming Group. We're going live, and we've got the characters ready. So it's 1970s Oxford, England, in the semi-supernatural world of Liminal game. X cards on the table, of course. People feel uncomfortable about anything. We're just having a new character join us. Yeah, so you're going with a female lycanthrope professor type? Amanda?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. As much as I love werewolves, it's good that two of you didn't go with the usual. Tried something different. That's good. Classistra. Classistra. All right.
And what's the geographical location, the setting? Is this London?
Oxford, so north
Oxford.
of London, kind of smack bang in the middle of England.
Okay.
So we can say you've met the characters before. Oh, because they're in the Botanic Gardens at the minute. They've been investigating something. We can have a sepia tone flashback saying you said where, earlier they said to meet you in the gardens around this time.
I
Unless you've got a better
have
idea.
an idea, which is that what I wanted to do next was I was going to ask to make a law roll to see if I knew a way to trap the Fae, to entrap them. But maybe we say that I don't, but I think Classistra might. And so maybe we all, or some of us, go off to Classistra's office or kind of rooms or wherever you are, your college, and kind of consult you, and kind of like maybe you haven't been brought in on this yet because you're off doing your research, and we're bringing you in because of your knowledge, and kind of like trying to find a way to trap these meddlesome Fae that have been setting up a protection racket.
Oh, yeah, so she's not out on patrol. Giles is back in the library, and you're going to go and consult their knowledge. All right. Okay. All right. So, is anyone staying to watch the birch sort of portal in the gardens?
I might as well. I'm curious. There's no way this could go wrong, right?
Famous last words. Okay. All right. So the other two are going to check with Professor Classistra. All right. I know what does your office look like, Classistra?
It's Professor Vennings, if you please. My office is surprisingly well lit. I prefer to be cool, keeps the cadavers from being too aromatic and in good shape. There is a surgery table that has wonderful illumination, a stand for dissecting. There's a wall with tomes that I am both reading and some that are not quite finished being filled in by my various bits of research. There is this is the section I spend the most time in, but there is also a receiving area with a desk, and it has a more palatable decor for those who are not as excited about my research as I am. And perhaps this is where I'll be greeting my visitors. There'll be some pleasant wallpaper here, lighting tones of warm colors to put those whom I think of as more mundane at ease.
All right. And you've met these two before, so yeah. Haley and Aisling wander in.
Hey,
May I
Prof.
help you?
Prof, need to trap some Fae. Any leads on that? And I think Aisling just kind of walks up to the desk, kind of I presume there's a visitor's chair or something, kind of like flops down on a visitor's chair and puts her feet up on the desk because she knows that this will infuriate Professor Bennings.
And you are with...
Sorry, I missed that.
Whom are you a representative of?
Thinking that I thought we knew each other.
Yeah, you've all met before.
Oh, we already did. I'm sorry, I missed. I thought this
it's
was...
okay.
Got it. Rewind. That it would be... Yes, well, an opportunity to assist in our mutual interest. How can I help you? Would you... what gap in your mind must I fill now?
So there's a couple of these there's a couple of Fae geezers, look like the London types, like my ma. They
I would just they were human wizards.
Yep.
They weren't Fae.
Oh.
They went through a Fae
Okay.
portal.
Okay. There's so rewinding, there's a couple of human wizards in league with some Fae, with some presumably Fae creature who no one's managed to get a good look at, and they're only going and setting up a protection racket here. So, and they need some sorting out. So, what I wanted to know if there's a way we can trap people coming out of Fae portals, because we need to grab them when they come out again. Otherwise, they're just going to keep on terrorizing the town.
I see. And these portals, are they in a fixed location?
As far as I can tell, hasn't moved yet. And I draw you kind of reach over and grab a pencil or whatever. And
Not that one. This one, if you please.
Shake my head slightly and kind of grab that pencil and draw the arrangement of trees that kind of make up this portal, and describe how it looked where it opened and whatever.
So, well, that's...
Professor Vettings takes out a
I
map.
was just saying, Haley is... Right.
And asks... And
I was just saying, Haley is
go ahead.
poking around while you two talk.
Haley is what?
Sorry, Haley is probably looking around in Professor Benning's office while you two are talking. And I'm sure that there's a bag of something from the corner store that she works at that is part of Benning's standard order of whatever that might be. Presumably some ritual item and or something, maybe it's tobacco, maybe it's whatnot, but I have a paper bag for you from the store.
Like you're presenting me like a gift. Is that what's happening? If I understand properly.
Yes.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. But feel free to work that in. And also, you don't need to worry about it. I just figured Haley's there. You know what she's doing. She's nosing around, but trying not to touch anything too obviously.
I see. And what's the demeanor in which Haley hands over this bag?
She seems a little bit proud to have remembered the exacting order,
Uh-huh.
or at least assumes that she remembers it correctly. So
Wonderful. Oh, Haley, What? So kind. Clotted cream and crumpets. You're so thoughtful. Unlike some of your associates. I will enjoy this.
And I think at this point, Aisling has put her feet down, and it's clear that this is kind of a tradition that I have to kind of, whenever I haven't seen you for a while, like I have to kind of like push a couple of your buttons, and then kind of like it's clear that after that, kind of I'm much more respectful. It's just kind of like I think Aisling thinks that you take yourself too seriously, so I kind of like remind you of that, and then kind of like forget about it because I don't want to be the annoying character the whole time. So I'm just going to kind of, my feet are down off the desk now, and kind of I'm not reaching for your special pencils.
Okay. Out of character, I'm happy for you to annoy my character the whole time if that's fun for you. But if you want to play it that way, that's fine too. So could you, Professor Vennings takes out a map, places it on the desk. And where is this portal located?
So they'll point out an area in the Botanic Gardens, and they, would describe the birch trees that are leaning together.
Yes. And I think this is perhaps a time where my character makes a roll to see if she consults a tome or already knows something about this. Or maybe perhaps she needs to go to the location to gather some more information.
Well, yeah, you can either read a book, or your divination might be via dead spirits and stuff.
And in my mind, that would mean going to the location to do the divination.
Yep.
All right. I see. Let me pack a few things. I need to go there and do a bit of research. If you'd kindly come with me, she'll bring her. She has a bag that is pre-packed in it. Her various divination accoutrements and some particular notebooks. And we'll also grab the bag of the clotted cream and crumpets, and let us be off.
So, John Hardesty, are you sort of sitting on a bench or hiding in the bushes or up a tree, or what are you doing?
I'm sitting on a bench eating some chips. There's fish that came along with it, but I don't know. I'm not feeling really fishy right now, but before I could say just the chips, it happens. So, if I get hungry, I got a snack for later.
So I think I immediately walk up behind you and kind of swipe a chip from your thing.
That's the 17th chip you owe me.
Just wink at you.
And at this point, you should just buy me a couple of orders of fish and chips, and I mean that ought to square us up. But it's not like I'm counting.
All right. So yeah, it's autumn. It's a cool breeze. They're in the Botanic Gardens. John's on a park bench eating chips. Sharing chips with Aisling.
Involuntarily sharing chips, having chips stolen.
Are you doing anything?
I'm thinking that I will have badgerfied, just to sort of keep a nose out for trouble, as it were.
Okay.
So I am the oddly shaped. I will sort of join. I will have been the oddly shaped dog being walked without a lead, or in fact a collar, by Aisling. So
do you like fish?
Probably not the first time.
In either
Yeah,
human or badger
I
form.
think. Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, in that case, I will
Mhm.
happily take one of the pieces of fish out, and like kind of. I mean, would you be offended if I just dropped it on the ground for you, or would you prefer that it be handed to you?
I mean, if you start holding it out, I'll get underneath it to position it so I can grab it in my mouth.
Gotcha. Okay.
She doesn't get up on her back legs and spin in a circle first or anything. Or
No.
No, because I feel like that would be demeaning to both of us.
Yeah, that would be offensive. Are you kidding me? No.
We've had that discussion already.
Yeah, holding the fish
Right,
out
right.
is one thing, but like, trying to make
Yes.
Hallie do tricks, that's no.
pulls a hoop out of nowhere. Come on. Oh dear. Don't piss off the were creature. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So, are you going to bring Professor Vennings up to speed on what's happening here? Anyone?
I think maybe we've done that on the
way,
kind
yeah.
of journey over here, and do you still need to be brought up to speed as a player, or have you got an idea of what's going on now?
I have only this vague thing. I'd rather, since you guys already know what's going on, if you want to give me, I'll figure it out as we go along, and I'll make some assumptions. If I get them wrong, let me know.
Yeah, they're basically
Sure.
keeping an eye on some human wizards that are running a protection racket.
Right.
Yeah, and there was an interfering, probably someone that Professor Vennings would know, actually, potentially I've forgotten their name, if they had a name, the Council of Merlin person who originally gave us this job.
Yeah. So, yeah, Augustus Gilbert. He's basically said, look, someone's doing some dodgy magic and hurting people and stuff, and yeah, he'll give you all $1,000 each to find out what's going on.
All right. So that's the client, not the actual detective agents.
Yeah, that's the client. And I think the detective agency is kind of jointly. Well, the property of the detective agency is jointly owned by myself and John, and I think John's. Fair to say that you're the main person, because I've got another job. I think you're the full-time detective in this scene.
Such as it is, I mean, full time is. I think you're describing it rather generously. It's a lot of sitting around in an office and waiting for somebody to call. So, lots of greasy food.
Okay, so
I think at this point I plonk down on the bench and kind of I'm just watching the professor do her weird thing.
right, so
Sure. Is my professor stricken? She's vulnerable to. She's easily possessed. Is this a place that has already a bunch of ghosts? There's this portal here.
are you kidding me? This is England. There's freaking ghosts.
Every place has ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah.
But since she's not in a mental institution, I imagine she isn't constantly overwhelmed.
Or
But
you have
I don't
control
know
of
if
it
this
to a
place
degree.
is unusual in some way in that regard.
No, there are some ghosts wandering around here, but they don't appear to be hassling you or anything.
Are they ghost gardeners?
Yeah, there's probably one or two of them here.
Tending the hedges in the garden even after they passed on. I can respect that kind of
I
dedication.
wonder if there's a historical event that has occurred in that gateway of trees that may have made it more magically potent.
It's England.
Are there
Historical
any
events
that?
happened everywhere.
Oh, I know. But maybe that was where somebody got flogged by the townies.
Again, that could have happened anywhere. Okay. So,
Yes, town and gown riots.
If you want to get a dead person to answer specific questions, you can roll your necromancy thing.
Yes, that's my one of my character's main things, so I'll go ahead and do that. So I don't know which skill that would be. I see lore, I see medicine. Do
it's
either of
lore.
those?
So
Lore.
2d6 plus 3 in this case.
All right, I'll do 2d6 plus 3 and hit enter and see what happens.
You're rolling lore, correct?
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Can I help with that?
Not really, because in this case
Okay.
it's a type of magic which you don't know how to do.
Okay.
so. It looks like I have a 10 total.
Oh yeah, yep, easy. It's only 8. So you get to ask 3 questions to this dead thing. You'd probably notice, I don't know if it's all right. With you, when you're sort of focusing, talking to this dead person that the others can't see, and maybe your shadow looks like a vulture.
Sure.
When you're doing your necromantic magic, or all right. So 3 questions, and yeah, this is one of the gardeners. Scott.
Is there a pick list of questions, or just think them up?
Nope, no, think them up.
So it's a gardener that's has come to my summonings. Good sir, there have been some people who have been trespassing here, if you will, from the Fey domain. What can you tell me about them?
It says two lovers, and he's sort of trimming the hedges. His feet aren't there; he's just floating slightly above the ground.
I'm sorry, is my character seeing this ghost, or is this the
Yeah,
gardener
no, you're
saying?
seeing it. They can't, but you can. They're damaged, missing. They don't care about the living. They only see the world for what they want to see. In other words, they're selfish.
When they pass through the portal here, who are they taking with them?
Can't see. So, as a necromancer, you would know it's not an undead or necromantic spirit. It could be a fae or someone shielded by magic, but it's nothing undead sort of related because this ghost can't see it. So,
Okay, so
it's not a vampire, it's not a ghost, or it's not anything necromantic sort of thing.
Am I able to communicate with the other my compatriots and communicate to them what? All right, and can they like suggest a question for me? In that case, my character's relaying what I'm seeing and hearing and asking if you guys have something I should ask.
The only thing which springs to mind is kind of asking, like, as this is a gardener and kind of presumably has some sense of ownership over the these surroundings, kind of like asking if they'd be if they'd be okay with us kind of like staging an intervention here to protect the city, kind of like, which could, I guess, get a bit messy. So it's kind of like just kind of like the same way you might ask someone if they could use their house for a stakeout, kind of just asking permission of the ghost. I don't know if that makes sense. Aisling suggesting that.
All right.
I'll volunteer to cast a protective ward once we're done, so they shouldn't have any other problems.
I guess I'm hoping. I guess I could just be polite and ask. I'll do that then. I'll ask the gardener. Would it be quite all right for us to stay here for a bit to ensure these intruders don't come again?
Yes, that's fine. I've got hedges to trim. It just keeps doing the gardening.
All right. And you mentioned there's these lovers that are off to the side.
No.
Okay.
The people, the wizards going through the portal, they were lovers.
Ah. Okay. All right. I think those my three questions. Yep. All right. I'll look around the lovely world that I'm in, and then come back to my current senses.
All right. How long is your team going to watch the portal? Like half an hour, 3 hours, 9 hours?
So, I want to set up.
We should probably take shifts.
Yeah, and I'm still interested in setting up a. Okay, let's do this to character. I think we should be setting up a trap. Keep the element of surprise. Kind of keep them pinned down when they come back here, because like there's two wizards. I know we've got kind of a fair bit of magic between us, but like best stack the odds in our favor.
I like the way you think.
So I'm going to. Can I roll to see if I'm aware of any way to trap wizards, kind of like, or if there's something to do with coming through a portal that kind of lends a vulnerability in any way.
Okay, so you could stop them coming through the portal by just burning the trees, so the portal wouldn't be active anymore. You could do a ward around the portal so they can't leave the area, but it means they can still jump back through the portal.
So here's a question. Can we combine our skills to do something together that we could not do individually, like some sort of counter magic ward, which strips them of their magical ability and their ability to go back to the portal, and also traps them in the area?
I mean, there's nothing in the book about it. I like the idea, but I'm thinking it's going to be hard. You're going to need to roll good, basically.
I'm wondering if, because that kind of the thing that I'm wondering about that is counter magic doesn't seem to have sufficient cost to be that powerful. So I'm thinking that glamour might be more appropriate if there's some sort of ward that includes a glamour which prevents them from finding the portal. So basically that kind of turns them around. You know the kind of classic Fae thing where you kind of like can never reach a particular destination, and you can kind of like maybe see it out of the corner of the eye. Whenever you walk straight towards it, it appears off to the right or off to the left. I'm thinking a glamour that does something like that, combined with a ward, so it activates when they come out of the portal. How does that sound to you, John?
As long as it keeps them from jumping back and forth from our world to the Fae world and leads to us getting, well, whoever is helping them, I'm good with it. But I mean, I don't really like the idea of a couple of protection racket would-be gangsters having access to that kind of magic. That's the sort of thing I think we should probably put an end to.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Shall we be about it then?
No time like the present. And I pop the last chip into my mouth and wipe my hands on my pants and shoot quite noisily.
So I think I'm here. I'm asking Haley to would you keep a watch for us? This might take a little while, and kind of run interference if there's a kind of mundane people, kind of like park rangers or anything, who kind of like are going to be interfering.
Cue Benny Hill music as they're chasing a badger around the park.
And so, yeah, should we roll first before we see what it looks like? I'm guessing this is kind of you setting up a ward and me infusing it with glamour.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. Either way, it's law. Hang on.
Okay. Let me find... Now, realizing I don't have the dice roller open. Give me a second.
So this is 2d6 plus 2 for the ward magic. Is that correct?
Plus law.
Plus lore. So that's 2d6 plus 4.
Okay. And...
Hang on, how'd you get plus 4?
Lore plus ward magic.
No. The 2 for ward magic is just the cost.
Oh, so it's just plus 2.
Yes.
Nobody else has ward magic, so okay. Wow.
Well, the glamour bit went well.
And that did not. Oh wait,
I think that was just a 2.
Yes,
I don't think you added the d6s.
I didn't add the d6s. All right, now let's try that. And that is hardly any better.
Okay. So the glamour to make them confused about where they are is active straight away. It's not reliant on a trigger because the war didn't do anything. Okay. So if they're coming back in the next 3 hours, then yeah, that glamour will confuse them and they'll just not be able to find the exit.
So I'm wondering if there's a way. I can't think of any, but think I'm like, oh damn it, bad luck, John. We're on a clock now. Can anyone think of a way that to kind of lure them back here?
Mm.
Well, it's not going to work for the next
That's
3
a tricky
hours
one.
unless you. Well, actually, you could counter magic your own glamour to dispel it, basically.
Well, because they're still in the Fey realm, so they can see it and come back through. Correct?
Yeah,
that's because of his glamour's.
Oh, the glamour disrupts it from both sides.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That's less than useful. I'm wondering whether
I mean, I would consider trying to put a trap or something on this, but the problem is this is a gap between 2 trees, and if you know anything about kids, they'll be running through there a dozen times when they're out playing, when they're
If
out
we
of
just
school. So
if we destroy one of the trees, will that destroy the portal as well?
Yeah, it's gone.
I turn to the doc. Say, Dr. Vennings,
Yes.
how would the spirits in this area feel about us cutting down one of those trees?
What? Never mind the spirits. Destroying these trees, this portal. I imagine these portals are long-lasting. In my mind, I imagine they were like Egyptian temples, like things that persist through time. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
There's always other trees. There's always other portals.
Yes, and there's always other lifetimes, which, if you think about it, your life is, not to be rude, less significant than this tree.
You're really making me want to cut this tree down. Listen, I don't want mortals having access to the Fey realms at will. That is bad. That is, in fact, very bad. The Fey, knowing how to get back and forth to this world, they've been doing it for longer than any of us can remember. Even as just talking about ourselves as a species, they've been bouncing back and forth longer than we can remember. But this is horrible. This is giving people like me access to power that we were not meant to have. I mean, think about it, Dr. Vennings. Would you want me bouncing back and forth between this world and the Fey realm, getting power over there and bringing it back here and using it?
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
We're agreed. Let's get rid of the tree.
There must be another way. Couldn't we simply build a wall in front of it then? Or, goodness, get rid of the humans instead.
You can use countermagic to get rid of the glamour, and then when the wizards come back through, just jump on them and knock them out. They are human.
So you're suggesting that we kill 2 humans and leave the portal intact?
Well, they put it here. Surely they did that intentionally.
You give far too much you give far too much credit for the Fae to the Fae. It's the Fae was likely to have put it here as a joke as anything else, if I'm any judge.
I mean, you've mentioned children running back and forth and running through trees, which is why we can't do certain things. That means children could run through this thing, just playing about. And the next thing you know, the next thing they know, they're in a Fey realm. And they're lucky if they ever get back.
Does my character know whether or not this is a newly created portal? You mentioned I thought this would be as old as a pyramid. Is that not the case for this particular portal?
You don't really have a way of telling, but you do know that some portals have been around for thousands of years.
Okay.
I suppose that would be a divination. Might be able to...
I imagine my character...
Yes, you could ask one of the gardeners.
Yes. Yeah?
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say that that actually no, it doesn't matter. Forget it. Sorry.
All right. So I'll ask one of the gardeners.
Yeah, I'll try finding... Are there any Fey ghosts here?
No.
Could my character go into the
Are
Fey
there
realm?
ghosts?
Well, you'd have to jump through the portal. Just zip on through.
I think...
Oh, is that portal active? You literally
yeah.
can just step through. I thought... Oh,
I'll
definitely hasn't been there.
I'll step through and ask the Fey ghosts, because I think they would be around longer than the human ghosts, which, although ghosts... I think getting the Fey perspective might be more useful here, so I'll step through.
Is anyone stepping through with her?
I think that I need to, because otherwise she's not going to be able to get back because of the glamour. So I think I need to go because otherwise you're just going to get lost. So yeah, I'm stepping through with you.
Okay. Hayley, what
I
are you
think
doing
I'm gonna
during this?
burrow at the. I'm gonna burrow in a little bit into the base of the tree, one of the trees, and add to make a concealed spot that I can jump out if something happens.
Yep, no worries.
I'm not interested in going into the Fey realm right now.
And seeing that everybody else
Possibly
is
not ever.
seeing that everybody else is set up, I'm gonna go get some more fish and chips.
If out of character, I don't know John's character and how like hardcore John is, but if John wanted to chop down the trees while the professor was not there, that's legit in my mind as a player.
That would trap both of you on the other side of the portal.
True, but if I don't know, John can have different feelings. If he's hardcore, so be it. As far as I'm
John
concerned.
is not the kind of person who's going to trap people that he likes who are not harming others. The only reason he's talking about doing it with these magicians is because they're hurting people. They're taking that power and they're using it to hurt people. Trapping. So it's not something that he does lightly, but it's like he figures it's better than just shooting them because
Got it.
They could have a life on the other side of the portal. They might even find another way out.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's not going to be his problem. It'll be somebody else's problem.
So
Okay.
you
Okay.
go through the portal. It's like Uber Spring World. There's flowers everywhere. There's a warm breeze. Every plant is in full blossom. There's what else did I have? There's foxes scurrying about the bushes and sparrows in the trees, and it's like Disney film on steroids.
Yeah, this is. I imagine this. I don't. Maybe it's the first time the professor's been in the Fey world, so this is like, wow.
I think
This is fantastic.
You glance over at Aisling and kind of Aisling's not looking quite human anymore. Kind of like elongated ears, almond kind of eyes with greenish tint to the back of them. Kind of like, it's very clear that Aisling is half Fey at this point.
Would my character have known that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
You certainly
I think
do now.
that it seems more fun that you didn't. And
Oh dear, I heard such pleasant things about the Fae. I hope you're not representative.
I would like to think not.
As charming as you are, I'd prefer to speak to the dead, and I'll try to.
Things not to say on a first date.
And I take a step backwards and kind of outstretch my hand, going like, "Go ahead."
I'll try to talk to some ghosts about this portal.
Roll plus law.
Rolling. 11.
Okay. So, what are you trying to find out?
I am trying to find out. My character cares about how important this portal is. If it's ancient, she's not going to let it get chopped down, destroyed. If this is a recently created thing, then yes. I'm trying to find an old ghost or spirit or something that might.
A tree there, and the tree kind of animates and has a face in the middle. And
oh, is this one of the trees that makes up the portal? I mean, what's the portal look like on the face side?
The same.
Okay. So am I talking to the tree that's part of the portal?
That'll be a maple tree. It's quite
And that's
large.
part of the is it part of the portal?
Part of the portal. It's
Oh, okay.
next to it.
Okay.
And it's like we can grow another one.
Oh, so this is not that old by your standard of measure.
300 years of your years.
And how old are you, might I ask?
30,000.
Ah, pleasure to meet you. Good day. Oh, do I have an extra question, actually? Or is that...
If you want. Yeah.
Oh, could you tell me about the humans that have been going through this portal?
They are acorns that, blown by the breeze. They are here and then they are gone.
And they shall be. Thank you. I'll pop back into the current world. That was refreshing.
Oh, so you stopped talking to the dead, but you can't go back through the portal.
Oh, yeah, I meant to stop talking. In my mind, when my character talks to the dead, it's sort of like a little bit of another meta world. Maybe
Yep.
so popping
And
back
it
into
goes
the non-meta world.
shadowy and yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes, this is new. I think it's more of a something that is polluting the area. This is too new. We should get rid of it.
And if I know anything about the Fae, if they remake it, it probably won't be in the same place because there's kind of the slippage between the realms. So tell me if I'm kind of on point here, or kind of getting away from stuff that you've already kind of like conceived of,
right.
like. And so, yeah, it might. Glad we brought you on board. It might actually be a decent move destroying this portal. Kind of like looks like the consequences wouldn't be too severe. And shall we? And kind of go to. I think I need to take your hand, perhaps, to kind of guide you to the portal and to go back through the portal, kind of through my llama. And
Right, so there's trees kind of reaching towards Aislinn. They're not trying to whack her. It's more like they're trying to reach out their branches to hold her hands.
Oh. And I reach out and touch just with 2 fingers one of these trees just to see what happens. It's almost an instinctive thing.
You would have a strong emotional response. It's up to you what that is, whether it be fear, amusement, arousal, something, but it's a strong emotional response.
I think it's a combination of excitement and fear.
Yeah.
Kind of like the feeling when you're just about to jump out of an aeroplane.
Okay, now make a conviction roll, which you don't have any bonus in, so just 2d6, please.
Okay. That is a 10. Rolling well today.
Okay, part of you really wants to stay, but you're also aware that that part never wants to leave. It's like, I could live here the rest of my life. So that thought occurs to you, but obviously you're still in control of yourself.
Yep. I think that I whisper to these trees. I wish that I could, and kind of like almost wave a slightly sad goodbye and attempt to lead Professor Vennings back through the portal. I don't know if that goes smoothly or not.
Yep, that's fine. All right.
I think as I'm coming through the other side, the first thing that the others see is me kind of like sighing deeply and shaking my head a little.
Okay, so John's been back with his chips. They've been gone for like 3 hours.
I popped by a hardware store while they were out. Just
Got
in
a
case.
chainsaw ring.
It's the 70s. There's no chainsaws.
Isn't it?
But I did get a hatchet and an axe.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I
sitting
will
there
give
with like
you a
some,
meaningful look.
it's sitting there ready.
Yep. Mhm.
As I munch away on some chips and, give Hallie a little bit of
Mhm.
fish.
Yep. At some point, I'm going to have to probably go back and finish the evening shift. Although I guess you guys are my bosses, so,
There's other students that work in the shop, so you can just say, hey, you want to do an extra shift today or whatever. Or
Right. I'll have to at least excurt to a payphone and call somebody to take my shift for the night.
I can do that.
Does my character pop on the other side of the portal?
Yeah, you come out of the portal, you're back there, and it's now sort of mid-afternoon, so what felt like 10 minutes in the Fey Realm, you were gone for 3 hours.
Oh. John, would you please kindly get rid of these weeds? Referring to the portal.
I look puzzled.
They're only 300 years old.
That's new, apparently. Not old enough.
Wait, so I'm a weed and I'm not old enough?
No, talking about the trees for the portal. Your hatchet. Make good use of them, please.
The badger's just looking at you and going, shrugging with her claws out, going, okay, are we doing this or not?
And I say, what the fuck are you on about? Are we cutting these trees down or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Trees, they're weeds. They shouldn't be here.
All right.
Fine.
I'm going to start digging at the base.
And I'm going to, I think, telling the others what I'm doing, I'm going to find kind of whatever kind of like groundskeeper or other kind of mortal authorities of this botanic garden, and I'm trying to kind of like keep them off our backs, because I doubt they'll be kind of too happy about us cutting down trees. So I'm attempting to use my silver tongue to convince them that we're on legitimate business, that there's some kind of notifiable disease that these trees have, and they have to be kind of removed immediately, and we're from the council.
Well, there's
That's
a
what I
guy
was going to
from.
suggest. Yeah.
There's as you're cutting it down and the badger's digging at the roots, as a man in a black suit wanders up. So I guess it would be Aisling and Professor Veddings that would notice, because the other two are having at the tree. So this guy in the black suit, when you look at his face, it's hard to tell what color the eyes and hair are. Your eyes seem to slide off his face. And he sort of looks at each of you, and then he just bolts and runs.
I suppose it's a big chase.
Yeah, I'm running after the guy. It strikes me it might be a good time for shapeshifting.
Oh yeah, I'll also yell so that John and Haley can see. I believe that's one of the magi. And I suppose I could change into a vulture and look from the air, follow from the air. I don't know what happens to my belongings, or if this is like your clothing transforms situation.
No, the clothing doesn't transform with you. So you undo. You're a bird, and your clothes fall to the ground.
All right, I'll find a tree to go behind to do this transformation.
Plenty of.
I thought the clothing did stick with you.
Did it? I thought we did. All right, well, that's fine.
Yeah, Haley didn't lose her clothing when she transformed into Badger.
Okay, that's fine. You still got it. Into a
I'm fine either way.
And Aisling. Okay, so it's running.
And you're right up that says that. I'm trying to remember what I read in the book. But yeah, I think you may be right then. But we can figure it out.
The way we played it in my last White Marks game that I played, I thought worked quite well, which is that you get to keep your clothing if you're doing it kind of deliberately and without kind of like, if you're doing it under duress, you don't get to take stuff with you. If you're doing it kind of deliberately, you can transform clothing. That
makes sense.
Seemed
Fairer. All right. All right. So roll athletics, Aisling.
okay, which I don't think is very good.
Nothing with 2d6.
0, yes. 2d6, 0. Seven. Presume I'm tripping over something in that case.
Yeah, they're getting away. They're gaining ground to get away from you. This would be awareness, Professor Bennings. Roll 2d6 plus nothing.
I see a 6.
Okay. So they've got a lead on you. They've disappeared into an alley. You could
Have I got time to throw a curse at them before they get too far ahead?
No, they've ducked around
Okay.
the corner. You can just keep running and try and use your ears to listen, or the professor can go up high and try and have another look.
I'll
Go for it.
yeah, I'll continue searching. Should I just roll again, or like follow them into the alley?
Well, you're going up high. You've lost them, so you're going up
Okay.
high to have another look around for them, and Aisling sort of following you and running on the ground.
All right. So I'll roll again.
Yep.
All right. 3.
3. Nah, they're gone. They're good at hiding, whoever this is.
So I'm in the alley at this point, and can I do a search for any sign of them? Like I think I'm not necessarily going to find them, but maybe I'm going to find some trace of them, and because I'm thinking my speciality in search.
Okay. Yep.
So that's a plus. Does it add additional +2 speciality?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay, so that's a +5. So yeah, so I'm searching around this alley for anything out of place, and I get an 11.
You find a black feather.
So I'm picking this up, and I am tucking it into. I've got a bag with me, I guess. So I'm tucking it into my bag, and I'm looking up at this vulture and kind of like, that might come in handy for John's geomancy, and walking back to where we left John and Haley chopping down this tree.
Trees chopped down, and the roots have been nibbled through or dug through by the badger. That's that. Yep.
Haley, I'm curious. How did the roots taste?
How did they taste?
Better than the fish, or?
I don't know. I thought maybe.
Well, they're not as nutritious as the fish.
It's
Well,
not
the
going
roots
to be
were spicy.
because that would be ordinary tree. So.
Ah, yes. And this was a beech tree, right?
Birch. But they
Birch.
were part of
Oh,
a
so it might actually have a spiciness from the birch. Yeah, from birch beer flavor. Yeah,
like
because
salami.
birch sap has a sweet tanginess to it. It was probably quite enjoyable, actually. I did like the fish too. You know, this is all being communicated in badger sign. But,
So I'm assuming that's
expressive
like
clause.
snorting, snuffling, maybe some movement, almost like a kind of badger dance or something.
Interpretive dance.
Yes. I mean, and a little bit of like using the paws and the claws to like show the hand and like rubbing your belly to say, oh, tasty, but gesturing to the fish, and they're also tasty, that kind of thing.
Are you rolling around on your back?
Mhm. No, just like popping, like sitting up on my haunches
Okay.
It's not a breakdancing badger.
to rub the belly. I mean, part of the reason to have the badger digging through is like, oh no, the badger compromised the root system. That's why we had to cut the tree down.
Also, it'll be real hard to grow it back, and a badger, chewing up a tree's roots is probably at least not a terribly uncommon thing.
All right, so
probably
the other two would get back. You've dealt with the tree. It's now like 5 PM, so it'd be getting darker.
Right.
Colder.
Time for a pint?
I think I think we're still on the job, I'm afraid, and I pull out this feather. We lost whoever that was. It's whoever you can't. It's the third one, kind of that. I think
the
that
man you can't
no one
see.
could. Yep. But I did
Mr.
find
Nobody.
this, and this is not. This is not a normal feather. I thought that your skills might come in useful here, John, and I hand the feather to you.
All right. Let's see what the streets have to say about this.
Can I just see whether or not it's one of my feathers since I was up there?
No, it's not.
All right.
But with you,
vultures are
divination
told
magic,
black.
so you could actually track where the person is from this.
Oh, I'll mention that to maybe I can help out John with his whatever he was about to do with this.
If you can track this from the feather, why on earth would we do geomancy?
I don't know what geomancy is.
Yeah, geomancy is more about ley lines and stuff like that.
Oh.
So
I can get information from the streets about this, but if you can track it, well, that'll save us time, and we can go have a pint.
Oh.
you could have your priorities.
Delightful. She'll take the feather and, I don't know, lick it and close her eyes and start sniffing around
All right.
to sense where to go.
So roll law in this case.
+3. 13.
God, everybody's getting the good rolls except me.
Do you get experience?
So you, since they're towards the middle of town.
I'll communicate this to the group, and maybe we can start walking closer. Or how far away do I have distance? Does this take a car? Or sorry, lorry?
Anyone's got a car, have they?
No, probably.
Bus.
What do they
We
call
use public
cabs?
transportation.
Yeah. You're only about 3 blocks from town, so you could just walk. It's not that
Alright.
far.
Oxford is
Lead on, Professor.
also
Do people need a 5-minute bio break, or are you good? Or
I could go for a bio.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Good.
All right, let's stop for a pint.
okay, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
See you in 5. Can people hear me? Maybe just that everyone's being quiet, but I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you were the first
Perfect.
person I heard, actually.
So we're walking. We're following the professor.
I'm not sure John's back yet.
Okay. That makes sense.
Another minute.
Back.
And I may have to step
Alright.
downstairs to get my hot pot, or my water from my hot pot. So.
Okay. All right, so you're following the professor's got this raven's feather, and there's a shadowy alley off one of the main streets in town.
Would you gents, one of you, well, only one gent here, mind going first? It's a bit dark.
Yes, I can go ahead into the dark alley.
There's a good
Hey,
lad.
Haley, what happened last time you were in this alley?
I think
No, Haley.
Mendel. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I can wait and get that water in a second. Last time I was in this particular dark alley, you know, I was probably one of those things where it was before the cult.
okay.
And so I didn't really have a sense for magic, or I hadn't discovered I was a werebadge or any of that. But there's just something about this alley that smelled and kind of like felt just like it didn't feel scary. It felt exciting. It felt kind of like there was some music at the edge of your hearing that was like making you want to dance.
Okay.
And so like you know, so it's an alley I remember cutting through a fair bit actually because of that. Can't say if that encouraged me to get caught up in a Fae cult or not, but you know.
Okay.
Those are the questions one can never truly answer.
Right, so you're making your way down the alley with John in the lead. There's a plane as a fox tipped over a bin further down the alley, and it sort of sees you lot, grabs a bit of food that fell out and scampers off. A figure in a trench coat and a hat steps out. That's close enough. Why are you following me?
Is this the man with no face?
Yes.
Tend not to like it when some gutter magicians are wandering around extorting people in my town. And damnedest thing, you seem to be behind them almost anywhere they go.
Got to make a living.
Yeah, we all do. Some of us make our living by helping people instead of magically fucking with them. You could make that choice. You could decide to help people.
And you say this is your town. You got hired by the government.
When I say this is my town, I mean, I was born here. I grew up here. I was raised here. I learned the streets. The streets talk to me. The city sings.
Now, as a GM, I'll point out you're all there. So if you want to say or do something, jump in at any point.
I'd like to have my character like falling back to exit the alley and start to circle around to go to the other side of the alley. Basically, I'm imagining this person that we're talking to is in the middle of the alley. I want to get to the other end of the alley by circling around back.
Okay. Can even give you 2 points of stealth because you had some skill points left. So, yep. All stealth to do that.
Sure. Tra-la-la-la-la. Sorry, there's my dice roller. +2.
Yep.
It's rolling. +2, 7.
Mm. And the voice says, No, Professor, stay with us.
Well, I'm pleased that my reputation precedes me. How do you know of my work?
Oh, I've kept an eye on you and John for a while now.
Listen. And I gesture to Aisling. We run an agency. We deal with unusual things. We're always
Like us,
recruiting
you
new
mean?
talent.
I want to use silver tongue here, and I'm saying to him, look, why don't you just tell us what you're about? Like, there's clearly something going on. Maybe we can help you. I'm trying to get him to talk, to open up. So what's silver tongue? A roll with empathy,
Basically,
is it?
charm. It's charm, but you add an extra 2.
Okay.
you would add
So
+4,
that's a +4.
broken. Haley, are you doing anything?
It's a 12 on my roll, and we'll come back to it after.
So I think I'm probably back in human form, as it were.
Yep.
I move faster that way. So I'm going to prepare myself. I figure I can. Sorry, the cat you can see in my picture is on my lap and wasn't happy with me moving something. So, okay.
Yeah,
She just
prepare
wants my
yourself to run or to fight
so
or
what was I
both?
saying?
Or
I'm
preparing
preparing to fight. I think I should be able to draw claws if I need to. I think I can do some partial shapeshifting.
Okay.
But basically, I'm going to hang back and see if he starts to make a hostile move, and try to get familiar with his scent if it's coming from that direction too, if I can.
Yeah, smells like a bird.
Okay.
All right.
So like the feather itself. Okay. I mean, I'm hoping that we can talk this guy down.
What about the other two? Does the offer extend to them, or?
They're elsewhere. Sometimes when you go into the Fey realm, it's easy to get lost.
So I've heard.
If they find their way back, we can talk. But the last time I saw them, they were busy cursing families, having picnics. You seem to be a lot more reasonable, a lot smarter, a lot stealthier, a lot more clever. You don't do things in the middle of the day with everyone watching.
No, I appreciate subtlety. All right, and he'll walk a bit closer, and he'll sort of look at Haley. Do we have an agreement not to harm each other? He's just looking at Haley at this point.
As far as I'm concerned, it's always better to sit and talk, don't you think?
And he says, I was talking to the girl.
For now, yes.
All right. We
I would like to talk first.
fiddles around with
I would
something
like to avoid it.
in his jacket, and then yeah, you can actually focus on their features. Just looks like a 20-something, dark-haired Anglo male. All right. Should we go to your shop place, John?
That or a pub? Your call.
I call neutral ground. Let's go to a pub.
Oh, he sort of looks at Aisling. I like you. You've got brains. All right. So you go to the pub. The pub's called the Rampant Rooster. We'll say it's a Irish thing, 70s. Yeah, there'd still be an Irish pub. I've got stew and some Irish music in the background.
So I think Aisling offers to buy a round of drinks. What are you drinking? And then I pause as if to kind of leave space for a name in there.
Shit, what did I call him? Terence. Or Terry. Yeah, so Terry. It's fine. Yeah, just a lager's fine. All right.
Professor?
Yes. I prefer a stout. That would be good.
So, stout for the professor and John. I'm presuming, and Haley.
Did she drink, or did we decide she was underage?
I don't know. I'm not anyway, I whatever her order is, I go and because I don't think Mendel's here right now. I go to the bar and get the round. Come back with it.
Oh, sorry. I'll just have whatever everyone else is drinking, as it were.
Oh, looks like 4 stouts and a lager then.
Okay. All right. Do you have a drink?
And I think that I'm. Can I use the effect? I don't know whether it's already been used, but kind of like the effect of a Terry opening up to us. Can I just be kind of like receptive to that here? Kind of like trading on the result of the silver tongue roll to kind of like I'm just listening. I'm kind of like I'm trying to be a good listener and waiting for Terry to talk.
He's, talking about the weather or the football results or whatever. He's not talking a lot about himself, other than he's familiar with town. If he's not going to do what you're not happy with, he'll need to do something because you've all got bills to pay and need to eat.
But how'd you get mixed up in this line of work anyway? And how did you know get mixed up with those others? Kind of like, you seem like a friendly enough chap. Right? What gives?
Well, I needed to eat. Needed money, needed to do something. I was in London, and the police don't take well to our kind. And looks at Haley.
Yeah.
Terry, how old are you?
So,
If you mean am I Faye? No. A little bit younger than you, John, I believe.
How about we could look at finding you some work, kind of more suited to your subtle talents than this vulgar mess you've been mixed up in. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. I can certainly take a week off to think about it and give you some time to see what you can come up with.
We may have an in at the Magician's College.
Not sure I trust groups of magicians. No offense, Professor.
You know, Terry, that was kind of exactly. I mean, look at me. I'm hardly one to be hanging out with magicians in general, but I understand the sentiment.
All right. Well, I'll stick around town and give you time to think about it.
I mean, not sure if this appeals to you, but there's always I know, look over it, Aisling. What are we calling ourselves now? Our firm, our organization.
Yeah, we still haven't. I like the idea that we haven't bothered. It's on the to-do list. It's kind of on the blackboard or kind of pinboard back in our office to kind of come up with a name, and it's been there for 5 years.
Yeah, name question mark.
Yes. Oh, firms
because it's
good
what's
enough.
preventing you from putting out a classified, right? You need a name to put a classified in the paper.
Yeah, we most of our business is word of mouth. People come to us because they hear we handle unusual things, and well, I mean that's how we got our building. We handled something unusual for someone, and they straight up gave us a building in payment.
Terry said, "No, I'll think about it. I'll be in touch. I'll check in with you in a week's time."
Well, you know where to find us.
Why don't we plan to meet here in a week's time?
Yeah, that's fine.
You see, Haley, this is why I like you. Always with the good ideas.
All right, so he heads off.
I try.
All right, so you've finished that adventure.
Mhm. Yeah, I was trying
So-
to not let him know that I don't know about how the cops are with shapeshifters.
Yeah. Well, he kept indicating to Haley as a shapeshifter, but not Professor, so he didn't seem to know all that about
Right.
her anyway. But,
Mhm.
Okay, so that adventure's finished, so you can put up a trait or skill by 1. Basically, get a trait point to spend on something, or put up a skill by 1, or just stash it for later if you like. And we'll say a couple of weeks passes where you can just do mundane stuff. Is there anything the characters would like to do in that time, or also you got a grand each, so if they want to go on holiday for a fortnight, they can do that too.
I don't think John ever actually leaves Oxford. I think when he said, "This is my town," he literally meant that. Like, doesn't leave the town. Like, he may go to the edge of it. There may be like a farm outside of it, just that he'll visit if he needs to do something there. But otherwise, he's very much here in town always.
I think Ashling does go on holiday, and Ashling is trying to find somewhere, and she's been traveling around a lot, and she's trying to find somewhere, like whenever she has kind of spare cash, she's trying to find somewhere that kind of feels kind of like fills the void left by leaving the Fey realm, somewhere with a kind of equivalent sort of ethereal beauty, kind of like doomed to failure because there's nowhere like the Fey realms, but knows that it's not a good idea to stay over there, that she'll lose all her connections with this world. So she's trying to kind of like on this doomed quest to find something to scratch that itch in the mortal world.
So maybe you stay at a couple of B&Bs and you go for walks in the malls or the woodlands or whatever, and it's nice when you're out there, but you
Yeah.
You can't
could go
really
to the
lose
Peak
yourself
District.
out there because you're never too far from a town or a road or whatever.
Yeah, Peak District sounds good, but kind of never quite scratches that itch.
And you probably dream a couple of times of the trees, and you're all sort of holding hands as the wind blows you and stuff, and it's part of you probably regrets that decision. Haley, what are you up to?
So I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to. I'm thinking character-wise, I'm going to take always prepared. I always have a few items randomly. So, it feels like appropriate for my character now.
Okay.
But Haley is probably still working. She's she's got to make up that shift to her friend, and her friend and then that friend probably we'll say has a hem night coming up, so Haley gets kind of pulled into that, as much as she's not really sure that that's her kind of thing, but you know what, her friend needs her, and I don't know what's a good name for her friend. So I think that's going to just occupy my. So I'll make a note in here. Lydia. Well, pulling that name from somewhere I shouldn't, right? Good. Okay.
No worries.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
What's Professor Veddings doing in that time?
I think Professor Veddings was much more fascinated by the Fey world than she was letting on, and so went back and retrieved the tree that was felled, and is trying to see how to make a portal.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, because this is a world that has even more old stuff that's not in quantity but in age.
Oh, so you're doing some research on that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what skill or trait would be appropriate, but that's what she'd be doing.
Good question.
Maybe it would be even more lore.
They're probably putting lore up.
All right, I guess I'll change that to a 3 to a 4.
Yeah. Okay. I think you're all booked in for next week too, so that's right. Okay, so cut to recruitment scene for next mission. You're in a tailor shop in town, which is Shepherd and Woodward. A professor from the university who maybe John and Aisling would know, but definitely Haley and Professor Venning would know. As a professor there's asked you to come because he's got some work for you. Basically in the last couple of weeks there's been attacks on students. There's been 3 students have been attacked, and if it was just muggings it would be anybody, but each one has been a student, so he thinks something's up, and I'd like your team to look into it.
So who's the what's this a professor of? Kind of like I know that I'm thinking that I might have asked Haley or Professor Vennings kind of about them on the way, so kind of like I'm guessing we'll have some basic details.
Sociology and psychology and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So Professor, half this town's students. I mean, like, it's a shame that people are getting attacked, obviously, but like, is there anything strange that makes you think this is a job for us?
Well, I'm concerned about the students' welfare. If you turn up nothing out of the ordinary, well and good. But the police don't really seem to be doing a lot.
What a surprise! And I'm looking at John and kind of like seeing whether you have any more questions.
How bad are these attacks? How badly are the students injured?
They've all been injured. One of them's in hospital. What's his name? Julian. Julian is in hospital. Haley knows him. He pops in the shop a couple of times a week on the way to college.
Oh, I was wondering what had happened to him.
What kind of wounds are inflicted?
Knife wound, the report says.
Stabbing, slashing, cutting?
Cutting, slashing.
Well,
Was anything
Julian's in
taken?
hospital, you'd be able to go and visit him.
No.
Oh, I think we spoke at the same time. I presume that was an answer to was anything taken?
Yeah, sorry, nothing to say. What was the other question?
Oh, if Julian's in the hospital, then presumably I could go visit.
Yeah.
Before we leave, I'll ask, could you please provide a list of these students and what they're studying and the locations of their unpleasant mugging?
And also the time.
Yes, of course, yes.
All right, I'm just typing that in the chat. And right, so Marcel, Felix, and Julian all at night time in the middle of town.
So nighttime, slashing wounds. Nothing was taken from them.
Nope.
They're all
also-
men?
Yes, in this case.
And they are studying sociology.
No, one's doing medicine, one's doing law.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. Of course. Thank you.
And where did these attacks occur besides in town? I mean, were they in did they happen in a certain place or in a certain neighborhood? Certain street?
The central part of town. So not all right next to each other, but all within a couple of blocks of each other.
Let's see.
Right, is anyone going with Haley to the hospital, or is she going on her own? Or?
I'll go with Haley to the hospital. I'm going to Ashling's going to suggest kind of, why don't we split up on this? Me and Haley go and see Julian in the hospital. Maybe you can see what you can find out on the ground, John and Professor Vennings.
Well, the other victims we should perhaps also speak to.
Well, again, you're right, but Aisling has a good idea. I mean,
All
why
right.
don't we head to that area and see what the ghosts in the streets can tell us?
Ah, well put. Well put. Good conversation, I'm sure.
Well, the streets tend not to talk much, but they show me things in windows. You know how it is.
Ah, yes.
Okay. All right. So Haley and Nathan go to the hospital. So Julian's there. Haley's seen Julian like 50 times. Comes in twice a week on the way to college. Nice guy, a bit shy. Sociology student.
I'm going to bring a little something, like a little gift, or I would probably know whether flowers are a good idea or not. Yes, yes, chocolates is a definite. Yes, unless for some reason I know he doesn't like them. So I'll bring him some chocolate, and go in and inquire after him at the nurse's desk.
Yep, that's fine. They'll let you in to see him.
Mhm.
When he sees you, his eyes light up a bit, and he sort of looks at you a lot. Aisling would notice he's probably got a bit of a soft spot for Haley, but yeah, he's wounded. It's like, oh, what made you come here? What's happening?
Oh well, you're a customer I'm fond of, and I heard something had happened to you and I was concerned, and I wanted to cheer you up.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to have visitors. Yeah, I was just on the way to college, and next thing I know, I got slammed against a wall, and felt this pain in my leg, and my stuff was scattered along the alley. And then
Oh wow!
everything went black, and I woke up here.
So you didn't see who did it at all?
I think it
Oh,
was
I'm sorry.
a lady.
So this is a yes. This is Aisling. She's a friend of mine. She just she was curious about everything. It's not every day that someone gets attacked like this.
Yeah, terrible business. All these students being attacked. And I was concerned, kind of.
Okay. They see. Sorry, Julian says, yeah, it's the police asked me, but they kept asking, circling back to, was I involved in the student protest from a couple of weeks ago? And it's like, I don't get involved in that. They seem more interested in what else I've been up to, as if this is retaliation or something. But it's like, I wasn't involved in any protests, and that's
It's
it.
like that's it. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you can go ahead. I was just going to make an idle comment.
I'm going to ask you a question that might sound odd, and it's one the police probably wouldn't have asked.
Okay.
How
Sort of looks at you.
How sure are you that it was a person that attacked you? And I'm looking to see if there's kind of like a flash of surprise or recognition there of kind of like if they've been hiding, that they've spotted that something was weird about it, but didn't think they could tell anyone because it's kind of like they didn't believe it themselves.
I'm sure it was a lady that attacked me, but I didn't hear or see anything. It was like, bam, she was there and smacked me against the wall. And now I think about it, she was really strong. Like, she was my size and just picked me up without even a strain and just smashed me against the wall. So...
Very interesting. Thank you.
That must have
I don't know.
Must have been horrible. I'm gonna open up some of the chocolate for him.
Heals all wounds. Okay, we'll flip over to the other two in the alley, and you're trying to chat to some ghosts to find out what's been going on. I presume you're going to the alleys where the attacks happened. I think you're muted.
Yes. I'm going to go check out the area.
Okay.
By the way, since we had plenty of time to rest, do we restore all our will, or do we need to?
Yeah, your will and your what's his face will be back. Endurance will be back, so that's all back to full.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Professor, if you want to roll law, so you can chat to some ghosts in the city. You're muted.
15.
Yeah. Easily. All right. So there's a bunch of ghosts there. I'm going to say they're from the 20s. They've got sort of old jackets and caps on, and, you know. How can we help you, love? What's happening?
A good day. I thank you for taking time. There was a lad here, and for this location, which were the students, was it Marcel, Felix, or Julian?
Marcel, also.
All right. There was a lad here, Marcel, a law student, who was assaulted, and well, it's like perplexing. We don't know who did it or why. Do you know anything about this?
And they sort of look at each other and... Yes, it was attacked.
Yes, at night time, here in the world of the living.
We can smell it's different. The attacker, not dead, not living.
A ghost like yourself, then, perhaps?
No, I said not dead.
Oh, not dead. And not living.
Yes.
So perhaps something of the earth, something magical?
It's most likely to be either a demon or a ghoul or a vampire. Going by your extensive lore, because you're quite knowledgeable on what's out there. I say, can we borrow your friend? Is he busy? We could use his body to run around for a while. He's not using it, is he?
Oh, I'm afraid it's currently in use. Yes.
Oh. We'll bring him back if he's not busy later.
That's very kind of you to wish to inhabit the body. But I'll have to ask first. It's most polite.
we still have to ask? Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. All right, well, you ask. We don't want to upset people when they sort of snigger.
Yes, people are very sensitive about being possessed.
All right, bring him back here anytime.
Is there something about him that you find fetching?
I think we could have some fun with that body.
Well then, I'll encourage him to take good care of it then.
You do that.
I assume I am done and leave
Yep.
the world.
They wander off down the alley. All right, we'll flick back to the other two. Are you doing anything else with Julian, or you let him rest, or?
If I can get any sense for him about more details about this woman who attacked him, I'll try to ease, very gently encourage him. But
Smelled of
I mean, I'm not going to push him.
Smooth
Jasmine.
skin, smelled of jasmine.
Intriguing. That's a very odd scent to use while hunting people, I guess.
I'll get you both to do awareness. Actually, one of you had medicine. So, Aisling, if you want to do medicine.
Do you want me to do awareness at all, or just?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I will.
My medicine gets me 7.
Yeah, it's does look, the report sort of describes a knife wound, but it's not like a clean thing. It's like they jiggled around, they were panicking, or they didn't know what they were doing, or whatever. It's messy. And the awareness roll.
It looks like I got a 12. I'm not entirely sure how to use roll for your party right now.
No, that's fine. All right, so 12. There's, his books and his backpack are there. And there's some sociology books, as well as a collection of, hang on, which one is this? Stories by Anton Chekhov.
Okay, stories by Anton Chekhov. Would that be something I would expect Julian to have? Or?
He's never mentioned stuff, interest of people outside of sociology to you, but you could always ask.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he makes small talk in the shop, well, I guess he doesn't a ton. I would be observing what he buys, and yeah.
A little bit. He's a bit awkward. He's not
yeah.
super confident around the ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. We'll flick back to the other two. You've chatted to the ghost. Now what are you up to?
John, would you care to be possessed by a frisky chap?
A frisky chap?
He took a liking to, I dare say. It might be good to make relations with ghosts in the past.
Define frisky and relations.
Perhaps if you were possessed, you could ask him yourself. I don't want to be into anything that's private.
It strikes me that asking after being possessed is the wrong order in which to ask these questions. It seems that these questions should be answered before being possessed so that I understand what exactly I'm getting myself into or out of.
You're more the cautious type. Perhaps you're throwing caution to the wind, but you're quite right. Being cautious.
I don't think this is caution so much as just wanting to know ahead of time what frisky and relations mean. I mean, in my world, those have two fairly distinct meanings, and I want to make sure that I'm understanding what this ghost is implying when using those words.
Yes. Can my character just be a medium so that John could talk to the ghosts through me?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to do that now. It's up to you.
I mean, I assume basically, can I have my character be possessed to the extent that my character could be a medium that John could just talk directly to the ghost?
Yes, but you also know it's risky. They may not want to let you back in, sort of thing, or leave.
Well, I think my character is into this sort of thing, being possessed, because she has a vulnerability to it, and perhaps part of the vulnerability is she doesn't resist as much as she could. So I'm gonna say yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
does Professor Vennings have a possession fetish?
Maybe.
Sounding like that. Okay. All right. So you roll and let one in.
Is
Now,
that
well,
plus
actually-
lore? Yes.
Yeah. So roll plus law. This is how much you're in control.
Oh, okay.
Because you're just letting him in. That's not
Yeah.
up for debate. It's just how much you're in control.
Awesome. 7.
Right. Not really is the answer.
So how about Blake, you as a GM, just talk in character directly to John's character?
All right. Well. Yeah, they're like, oh. Basically, they're trying to chat you up. And
So you meant frisky in relations in the exact sense that I thought you meant them.
yeah, and they want to go for a walk, find someplace comfortable.
So, do you prefer men, women, either? Yes?
Yeah, either's fine. Just anything's, better than what we were doing. We're just wandering around the alley and stuff. It's nice to be able to get back in the world and see and hear things again. And
Go cottaging.
but if you want to be possessed, so you can experience what it's like, we can get out of the professor.
What guarantee do I have that you'll actually leave after when you say you will?
Well, it'd be rude to hang around, wouldn't it? Wouldn't want to be rude.
Well, one would think, but at the same time, my question remains. I mean, yes, it's nice to have manners, but as I'm sure you've seen from your time as a ghost, not everyone who claims to have manners actually does. No, I'm not making any suppositions on your part, of course. But you see more of human nature than most.
Can I just interject? That would be if it happened already or not, but to have Professor Vennings being possessed, going up to John and saying, "So you like men?" Because Professor Vennings being possessed by a guy who's interested in another guy. Professor Vennings female. Carry on.
What was your name in life?
Bartholomew, or just Bart.
Well, Bart, I see a lot of things. A lot of strange things, a lot of things that most people don't. I mean, for example, this, to me, is fairly normal. Talking with a ghost possessing someone else's body. This is outside the range of most people's experience. So you might say I'm kind of open-minded about such things. So if you wanted to walk around for, say, an hour or two, and you were to give me your ironclad vow, backed up by some of my personal wards, of course, I can see as how I might be persuaded to let you do that. And who knows? Maybe this turns into a thing. You know, maybe I come back here every so often and let you walk around a little bit. Or get frisky or have relations or whatever it is you do. Just do me a favor and wear some sheepskin, would you?
Alrighty. Yeah, yeah. You get the impression that he was initially sort of thinking it's just a quick one-off for sex while possessed, but you're sort of suggesting something more long-term that you could do regularly, and he's like, yeah, I could eat, I could run, I could do all sorts of stuff. If I got
Fish and chips.
Yeah.
Pint of the dark stuff.
Got your priorities.
You can go for a pie. You can get a curry.
All right. So he's sort of pushing less for intimacy at the moment because you've offered him a bigger, longer-term deal sort of thing.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. All right. We'll flip back to Haley and Aisling.
So, yeah, for some reason, I thought you were about to say sausage roll.
I had to Google cottaging.
Well, I hope that was adored. Sorry, yes, but in that list of pastries, right. I digress.
So,
okay.
Shall we presume you guys sort of agreed to meet at one of the cafes or something nearby?
Yeah. Did we ever decide what happened with Terry? Because if we're still on good terms with him, I would like to actually pick his brain on this. Because I'm assuming I've been sort of trying to meet with Terry periodically just to like find out a little bit more about this whole shapeshifter thing.
Okay, yeah, you've picked his brain during those 3 weeks or whatever.
Okay, but I mean, it's also like picking his brain about jasmine smelling, smooth-skinned woman who can throw a full-grown dude against the wall, like a sledgehammer, kind of thing. I mean, he's been around some different parts of this town. He might know something. That's all. I was wondering.
Just roll for Terry.
And like talking to him means
keep away from it. Could be a phase. Some of them are strong.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Especially smelling of jasmine.
Yeah, that was an odd detail. Yeah. You haven't smelled any jasmine around town, have you? Like, in particular?
I have a few times, but, I mean, there's jasmine plants around town. That's not
okay.
Super unusual.
Right. Yeah, I don't recall anything like that either. Yeah. Well, just keep your eyes peeled, you know. Technically, you fit the demographic.
So do you, technically.
Well, so far she's just attacked men.
Ah.
I mean, I'm not saying she couldn't attack me either. I'm just, you know.
Okay.
Three is a pattern, but not a very big one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we say you lot meet up at a cafe.
Yep.
It's the Bastille Cafe. It's kind of pseudo-French. People have got berets and cigarellos and some idiots playing an accordion in the background and not very well.
By the way, I, out of character, kind of suddenly come over very tired. So I'm going to suggest that maybe in character, Aisling has just come off a kind of, not just come off, because obviously we've seen Felix. Was Felix we saw? Julian. We've been to see Julian. But I'm going to suggest that Aisling had one of her night shifts, her kind of EMT night shifts, and is therefore kind of like half dozing in the corner, and kind of, so I think that fits with where I am as a player, with where I am as a character right now.
Okay.
Has it been long enough that Bartholomew is still sort of riding along, or?
No, he would have buggered off after an hour, sort of thing.
Okay.
So you had a good.
I was just thinking it'd be kind of fun if like Bartholomew was still around and like kind of overhearing all of this.
No, it can be. He's only sort of block away or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah.
He can still be. He's not possessing her, but he's sort of standing around and keeping an eye on you two.
Mm-hmm. So I figure that we're all seated at a table underneath an obnoxiously large photo of Charles de Gaulle.
Yeah.
Since he would have just been the president of France at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So is this an absinthe night or is this a Pernod night? And I say that to the table.
I would say absinthe. I mean, I've not tried either, but you know, it sounds good to me.
Right. And I'll wave someone over and say, we'd like to
I
pay a
do have
visit.
some sugar cubes, though.
Some what?
Sugar cubes.
I'm just going to say, we'd like a visit from the Green Fairy, if you will.
All right. So let me bring that over. That's fine.
And I think Aisling is looking at John and being like, "Well, I know that I should be into that sort of thing, but John, I've been up all night. I think I'm gonna pass tonight."
This is not a fae per se. It's just there's a mild hallucinogenic effect from the wormwood.
But in the background, Aisling would see Felix walks past. You've seen him at the hospital a few times. But he's actually,
So, oh, gone.
yeah, well, he was actually one of the victims as well. But he's wandering
So-
past the cafe. But you know him because you've worked with him in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He's a medicine student.
I say, I kind of call out to him, "Felix, fancy seeing you here. Come and have a seat. I'll introduce you." And I'm going with charm here, I think, to kind of.
That's fine. I can say you can do it. He's a bit surprised,
Okay.
so you don't have to roll. He'll wander over. He'll kind of pull up a chair next to you because he's like, "Who the hell are these people?"
And I make a round of introductions and say that we were speaking to Julian earlier in the hospital, and like you were attacked too. It's awful business. Kind of, how are you doing?
Oh, I just my shoulder is very sore, but yeah, it's just all really sudden. And he looks at the professor. He's like, "Professor, I've seen you around the college. You teach what is it called?"
Yes, I do teach. I'm into the sciences, the convergence of the life sciences and the death sciences.
Not a sentence I hear very often. Okay.
It's a novel field of study. Yes. Professor of Esoteric Necrology. Or just EN for short. Truly, this ill-fated night you had has me curious. Might you do me the kindness of satisfying my curiosity and allowing me to see your shoulder there where you're wounded?
Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, you got medicine, so yep, you can roll.
I thought this might be more of a lore thing, since one of the things might have been like vampirism, for example.
All right.
But
Well, yeah, roll plus law, then, if that's what you're looking for.
yeah, since it's an attack probably from a demon, ghoul, or vampire, I want to see if this person's going to turn into something, or whatever I find. But this is in particular. 8. I rolled.
8. Yep. So it is definitely like from a claw, not from a knife.
Hmm.
What sort of claw? You can't really tell, but it's just the way it's gone in. It's not a knife.
Oh, that looks like it must sting. I'll be quite sore now.
What sting was the police didn't want to do anything. They just kept going on about the bloody protests. I only went to one, but they're acting like I've been the world's worst troublemaker all my life.
Is this one of the strikes or something else?
Yes, from the strikes. We were protesting. Well, they're trying to put through some changes to freedom of information, and that can't happen. And then he has a bit of a rant about that, it's totalitarian government and we don't want that sort of thing, and that's why they're protesting. And people are around and going, yeah, you tell them.
And what information do you feel is being unduly hidden from us free citizens?
No, the government are trying to restrict, access to it, so we don't have a choice. It's not, it's not fair. This isn't pre-World War II Italy. This is England. We're supposed to be progressive and fair and freedom for all.
So I'm sorry. Could you tell me just what it is the protest you went to is advocating for or against?
For freedom of information. They don't like government control on everything. But there's
Freedom of information. So that
trying to go through the parliament to restrict information.
Right. Any particular information? I'm supposing that there's some particular information that's in contention, though. Is that correct?
Oh, government spending, freedom for people to find out what's happening in legal cases.
I see. The privacy concerns and whatnot. Yes, I see. And so have the police then, they've not been sympathetic then to the protests that you've been going to?
No, not at all.
And at this point, Aisling interjects with, "Oh, it doesn't sound like them at all," sarcastically.
Haley and John doing anything, or just?
I'm just kind of looking at him, just kind of trying to get a feel for him. I saw the wound, slash wound. I'm not worried about vampires. But I'm mechanically, I'm trying to use Streetwise to see if there's anything that I can figure out from this that the others might not pick up on, because we've got a lot of overlapping skill sets at the moment.
Okay.
I did want to at least find out enough detail about the claw, the slashes, the claw marks, to reasonably assure myself that they weren't, were-badger claws.
No.
Hey,
I don't know quite enough about this. Is it possible that, that once that 2 nights a year I'm going to go crazy and forget things or something, just in case.
I was just going to say, is this something you're prone to?
I don't think so, but I mean, obviously, if you're prone to falling asleep and then waking up without any knowledge of it and doing something horrible to somebody, then you wouldn't know, by definition.
And that's true. That would be concerning to me if I were in your shoes.
Just on the off chance, I figure it's worth.
You don't recall any blackouts or feeling weird or strange blood messes or anything on any of those nights they were attacked.
No nights where I wake up with dirt in my mouth or anything.
Yeah, no. And the attacks, it was definitely not knife wounds. John's seen plenty of knife wounds, and it's like, no, this is a claw, it's messier. There's more tearing.
Yeah, so it's right where I mean,
There's
my
also
claws are
bruising where the person was grabbed or shoved, and it's
Right.
like whoever did it was strong.
yes. Mhm.
Hmm.
And if I attack someone, it would not smell like jasmine.
I'll
That-
ask. Go ahead.
That's not quite what I had in mind when I heard the phrase "supernaturally terrifying musk."
Okay.
No, you shouldn't.
Alright. I think
Yes,
we'll
exactly.
say he's got to head off to college.
Oh, I'll ask before he leaves. Do you remember the name or badge number of the Bobby whom you interacted with?
No. I had an argument with him, and the nurses sedated me. I wanted to hit him. I was very annoyed.
Well, sounds terrible. Thank you for letting me know. I hope you heal up well.
And we'll say the sun goes down on the horizon, so it's night, and we'll pause there.
All right.
Okay. So it'll be, what do you call it? Stars and wishes. Starting with Aishan.
Okay, so there were some fantastic moments in that, kind of the conversation in Badger Sign between Haley and John. That was kind of Mendel and Puckett. That was fantastic, and the 300 years being kind of like not enough history to even matter. That, yeah, absolutely wonderful characterization. So that was really great, Manda. And the ghosts checking the etiquette around possession and whether they can kind of like, oh, we still can't possess people without their permission. What a shame! Like, it's just that was brilliant, Blake. So like, just fantastic moments from everybody. Like, really love that. And wishes. Are we doing all stars and then going round again for wishes, or
You can do wishes.
wishes just for more of the same. I'm really enjoying the kind of like the quite kind of not slow, but kind of like there's enough room for kind of plenty of characterization and kind of like flavor rather than kind of it's I'm liking the pacing of this, so wishing for more of that.
All right. Go to Amanda.
I don't think I'm ready to go yet, I'm afraid.
Mendel, you want to go?
Sure. So I very much have been enjoying a lot of the dynamics. We kind of managed to do that thing kind of almost naturally, which like paired people off a bit at different times to have interaction scenes between them, like, without actually having the script writing planning. I just like how that we sort of detected that dynamic and really worked that well. So like I think so. I mean, there's like half a dozen interactions I can think of, everywhere between, Vennings and John with the amorous ghost, to the clotted cream in Vennings' office, and that whole how are we going to interrogate this patient without interrogating this patient with Aisling. So thoroughly enjoying all that, and I do very much, and I concur about I like it. I mean, I sometimes call it chewing the scenery, but I don't mean it in a derogatory way. Like that feeling that letting the characters breathe, letting like the world become a thing that's really shared and exquisite. So, and as far as a wish, I'm going to put something very concrete. There's the actual hen night is coming up for Lydia. So if that could get worked into this story, into this investigation, I'm wishing for that, if that makes sense. And I'm also wishing for more detail, for more like figuring out what Venning's, like, how did Venning become the who she is now, right? Because definitely she wasn't always, she can't have always been this way. Maybe it's Oxford, I don't know, but I am very curious about that backstory, if that makes sense. So
Okay. Parker, do you want to go?
Sure thing. So first of all, an overall star for literally every single person in the session, because I'm loving the tone, I'm loving the pacing. I like the, as Mendel, I think you pointed out, characters getting a chance to breathe, interact with the surroundings, have random conversations that may or may not have anything at all to do with anything that we are actively working on. I'm gonna saddle my wish right there and say that I wish this was a longer run, because I'm having an absolute blast with it so far, and it really kind of makes me sad that we've got one more session on the calendar for it. If this was a quarterly or something like that, I would be thrilled, just because it's like we'd have all that time to just like mess around and investigate things, or not. I mean, we could do our jobs and that sort of thing, or we could just like go over here and talk to ghosts or whatnot. So I'm really appreciating that sort of almost like an ambling pacing, if that makes sense, where we're not being pushed to do this right now. It's just sort of like, when you get around to it. But in the meantime, here's a pub. So I'm really appreciating that. Mendel, I loved the way that you were describing how in Were Badger form you were attempting to communicate using pantomime and almost like some sort of, badger sign language, as it were. So that was absolutely delightful. The bit about chewing on the roots, because obviously you have to cut down a tree if a badger has damaged the root structure. Brilliant. Loved it. I really liked the way, Mander, that you were playing, that you jumped in and you had all these weird takes on everything, because it was perfect. I mean, it's like you come back and you're like, oh, they're just weeds. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This is an immaculately gardened botanical garden. What weeds are you talking about here? Oh, the trees. They're young. Like, these are full grown. Whatever. Okay, we can cut them down. That's what I need to know. So I liked the kind of almost confusing way that you put things, because you were putting it in Fey terms. You were just and expecting that I would understand what you meant. So I really liked that, where it's like, there's this kind of disconnect from your approach from like a more ethereal or academic plane to I have an axe. Do I cut down the damn tree? Because look, we're burning daylight here. So, I really appreciated that and how you did that. And Bodhi, I want to open a detective agency with you. Like IRL, I seriously want to open a detective agency or an investigation agency or just some kind of agency. You know what I mean? Because I could absolutely just see us sitting around in the office all day talking, just like, throwing random ideas around and ignoring everything on the to-do list. Because, I mean, if it's on a to-do list, it'll get done, right? So at some point, it will go from to-do to being have done. And if we just leave it there long enough, it'll probably happen. And in the meantime, how's the shop going? Did anybody buy any sweets today? Did anybody get any crisps? It's like, do we need to stock up on anything there? Or do we even do any of that stuff? Or do we just like lease it out and like periodically wander down and like get a snack and then wander back up and resume talking about nothing on our to-do list? So I don't know that I could say anything better about Aisling than that, because it just, the way you have put Aisling together, and it actually feels like it's absolutely natural for the other players to have brought the characters in that they did when they did. Like Haley kind of wandered in, like, you know, you and I started it somehow, and then Haley wanders in. And then somewhere along the line, we met Vennings, and Vennings kind of gets into that orbit. And now there's Terry, and now there's Bartholomew. And, you know, it's almost like, it feels almost like Holmes and Watson and the irregulars, only some of the irregulars are actual regulars, and they kind of just hang around drinking tea with us, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I wish there were more sessions.
It kind of feels like Holmes without the misanthropy.
Right. I mean, it's like, because it's like I'm playing the only male character, and he's like, I don't leave Oxford. I've seen a lot of stuff. I don't know. Possessed by a gay ghost? Why not? You know? I mean, it's the 70s. So, yeah, basically it leaves out the misanthropy and the misogyny and everything like that, and makes some of the subtext actual text. But in the meantime, it just feels like we're some unusual people with unusual talents and skills who wander around and solve unusual problems. And when people have unusual problems and start talking about them, eventually they wind up with us, and we're like, yeah, that is an unusual problem. That is absolutely the sort of thing that we do. Now you've got weird magicians wandering around and trying to curse you. Yeah, we handle that. That's exactly our job. That's our business. So, yeah. Anyway, so like I said, I wish we had more sessions of this on the calendar. I mean, I would love this as a quarterly. It seems like it would be fantastic as a semi-ongoing.
Hey, I can look at doing it later in the year and get you all back again or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I would be thrilled by that. That would, yeah. Anyway, so I'll stop babbling, but a lot of fun.
Amanda?
Like tonight, I agree with and I enjoy discovering this character with you, so thank you. One thing that we started out with is Ainsley antagonizing my character. You're welcome to antagonize my character for some more. I, as a player, am happy to have my character be annoyed at your character, and that's true with all the other characters as well.
I think I might react if you pull some pretentious stuff as Professor Vennings. I might react against that. Which could be
Yeah,
bad.
I was thinking that my character should maybe have some high society skill because of the way I'm playing her. Sure, yeah, I can talk down to Ainsley and see how that goes. Okay, I'll just use a cat. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all, and yeah, I like what you're saying, Puck. I was introduced to the Gauntlet a couple months ago with you playing Passion de la Pasiones, and I enjoyed you as a GM very much. So it's fun to play with you.
All right, no worries. I'll stop